was the largest ship in the U.S. Navy. A 500-foot steel titan carrying 300 souls and 10,000 tons of manganese ore. In March 1918, the USS Cyclops steamed into the heart of the Bermuda Triangle and simply ceased to exist. No distress signal, no wreckage, and not a single life jacket ever found. How does a massive military vessel vanish without a trace? Today, we go below the surface to uncover the Navy's greatest unsolved mystery. Welcome to the USA Suspects. Today, we investigate the shadows of the deep. In early 1918, the world was locked in the brutal final months of the First World War. The United States Navy relied on massive colliers to fuel battleships and transport vital raw war materials across oceans. Commissioned in 1910, the USS Cyclops was a marvel of modern naval engineering and logistics. Measuring 542 feet in length, it was designed with cavernous cargo holds built to transport tons of heavy materials. In January 1918, the Cyclops was assigned a high-priority wartime mission to South America. It sailed to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, to refuel British naval warships patrolling the South Atlantic. But upon arrival in Brazil, its mission parameters took a critical and hazardous turn. The Cyclops was ordered to load over 10,800 tons of raw manganese ore. Manganese was an essential component needed by American factories to forge hardened munitions and armor plating. However, manganese ore is extraordinarily dense, heavy, and notoriously unstable when subjected to sea moisture. The ship's holds were packed beyond standard wartime weight limits, dramatically lowering its waterline. In addition to the cargo, the vessel took on over 300 passengers, including naval personnel and prisoners. Among the passengers was Consul General Alfred Gottschalk, a prominent American diplomat. Gottschalk was rushing back to Washington to enlist in the U.S. Army, unaware he was boarding a doomed vessel. But the greatest internal wildcard was the ship's commander, Lieutenant Commander George W. Worley. Born in Germany as Johann Friedrich Wichmann, Worley had changed his name when entering the United States merchant fleet. Worley was known throughout the Navy as an eccentric, tyrannical disciplinarian despised by his crew. Reports indicated that Worley regularly berated junior officers, drank heavily on duty, and paced the deck in his underwear. Several crewmen filed formal complaints, and rumors circulated that a near mutiny occurred during the voyage to Brazil. Furthermore, with America at war with Germany, suspicions simmered regarding Worley's true national allegiances. On February 15, 1918, the USS Cyclops departed Rio de Janeiro bound for Baltimore, Maryland. Shortly into the voyage, the starboard engine suffered a cracked cylinder, reducing the ship to half power. Crippled and moving at a sluggish 10 knots, the overloaded collier crawled north through the Caribbean. On March 3, 1918, Worley made an unscheduled stop at Bridgetown, Barbados. Officially, the stop was made to take on extra coal, water, and food provisions for the remainder of the journey. However, local port officials noticed the vessel was already sitting well below its safe Plimsoll load line. The U.S. consul in Barbados, Charles Livingston, sent an urgent, alarmed telegraph to Washington regarding the ship's state. Livingston warned that the ship was dangerously overloaded, mechanically damaged, and commanded by an erratic captain. Despite the warnings, no orders were given to detain the ship or offload its perilous cargo. On the morning of March 4, 1918, the USS Cyclops weighed anchor and steamed out of Carlisle Bay. It set a course directly through the geographic expanse known today as the Bermuda Triangle. The ship was scheduled to arrive in Baltimore on March 13th to deliver its manganese to steel refineries. March 13th came and went, with no sign of the Cyclops entering Chesapeake Bay. At first, naval commanders assumed the damaged engine had merely delayed the ship's transit, but days turned into weeks, and total radio silence persisted from the vessel's powerful wireless transmitter. The USS Cyclops was equipped with state-of-the-art radio gear capable of sending distress calls hundreds of miles. Yet not a single Morse code distress call or telegraph pulse was ever received by any coastal station. By late March, panic gripped the Department of the Navy in Washington, D.C. The U.S. Navy mobilized one of the largest peacetime search and rescue operations in American history. Dozens of warships, auxiliary vessels, and coastal patrol craft swept the Caribbean and Western Atlantic routes. They combed every square mile between Barbados, the Bahamas, the Virginia Capes, and the Sargasso Sea. Weeks of scouring the ocean yielded absolute, baffling emptiness. No oil slicks, no floating deck chairs, no cork life jackets, and no human bodies were ever recovered. When a 500-foot ship sinks, it invariably leaves thousands of pieces of buoyant wooden and cork flotsam. The Cyclops had vanished as though it had sailed completely off the edge of the Earth. On June 1st, 1918, Assistant Secretary of the Navy Franklin D. Roosevelt declared the USS Cyclops officially lost. President Woodrow Wilson famously remarked, "There has been no more baffling mystery in the annals of the Navy. Only God and the sea know what happened to the great vessel." The loss of 306 crewmen and passengers remains the single largest loss of life in U.S. naval history, not involving direct combat. In the aftermath, investigators from the Office of Naval Intelligence launched an exhaustive inquiry. Theory number one was direct enemy action, a torpedo attack by a German Imperial submarine. German U-boats were actively targeting transatlantic shipping to starve the Allied war machine of resources. However, after the war concluded, Allied investigators thoroughly examined the Imperial German naval war logs. The records proved conclusively that no German submarines or sea mines were operating anywhere in the West Indies in March 1918. Theory number two centered on treason and sabotage orchestrated by Captain George Worley. Rumors claimed Worley steered the vessel directly to Germany or surrendered the manganese cargo to an enemy raider. But comprehensive post-war records revealed no trace of the Cyclops or its crew ever reaching a German or neutral port. Furthermore, Worley's wife strongly defended her husband, noting he was a devoted American despite his birth origin. That left structural and meteorological factors as the primary suspects in the mysterious vanishing. Modern naval architects have uncovered fatal design vulnerabilities inherent to the Proteus-class colliers. The ship's massive open cargo holds lacked transverse watertight bulkheads to divide the weight evenly. When loaded with 10,000 tons of manganese ore, the immense weight concentrated extreme stress on the keel. If the vessel encountered high seas, the heavy ore could undergo a catastrophic phenomenon known as cargo shift. If the dense manganese slid to one side, the ship would list heavily and capsize in a matter of seconds. Even worse, manganese ore can undergo liquefaction if exposed to moisture, behaving like a dense liquid slurry. Free surface liquid sloshing inside an uncompartmentalized hold destroys a ship's stability almost instantaneously. Historical weather logs from March 10, 1918, record a sudden, violent storm squall sweeping the West Indies. With its starboard engine disabled, the Cyclops would have been powerless to maneuver against towering beam seas. A single rogue wave or structural fracture along the keel would have rolled the vessel over before a radio call could be sent. Laden with 10,000 tons of dense ore, the inverted hull would have plunged to the ocean floor like a stone. Trapped inside their compartments, the 306 men would have had zero time to deploy lifeboats or don life preservers. This rapid sinking theory is powerfully reinforced by the chilling fate of the Cyclops sister ships. In late 1941, during World War II, both the USS Proteus and the USS Nereus vanished in identical fashion. Both sister ships were carrying heavy bauxite ore along similar Caribbean routes and disappeared without distress calls. Out of 4 Proteus-class colliers built, 3 vanished without a trace in the exact same oceanic corridor. This shocking statistic points away from the paranormal and directly toward catastrophic structural hull failure. The ships suffered from severe acidic hull corrosion caused by sulfur and manganese residues eating through floor plates. Over time, the structural integrity of the hull beams was hollowed out from the inside. When confronted by extreme wave action, the corroded steel simply snapped in half under the immense weight of the ore. But where does the sunken wreck of the USS Cyclops rest today? The waters along its projected route plunge into the Puerto Rico Trench, over 27,000 feet deep. At those crushing depths, the wreck would be subjected to immense hydrostatic pressure and dense sediment accumulation. Modern deep-sea explorers, including teams utilizing autonomous underwater vehicles, continue searching the seabed. Several deep-sea anomalies have been surveyed off the coast of Florida and Virginia, but none have proven to be the Cyclops. Finding a steel hull broken into fragments across miles of abyssal trench remains one of the ocean's greatest quests. Over a century after its disappearance, the USS Cyclops remains an active open cold case in naval history. It stands as the legendary cornerstone that birthed the modern myth of the Bermuda Triangle. But beyond the legends of mysterious sea triangles lies a very real, heartbreaking human tragedy. 306 American sailors, officers, diplomats, and passengers who never returned home to their families. Their families lived out their lives without answers, without funerals, and without physical closure. The names of the lost crew are carved into the tablets of the missing at military memorials across the nation. Modern marine forensic science brings us closer than ever to understanding the exact sequence of the disaster. It teaches us that nature and mechanical failure are far more ruthless than any supernatural mystery. The sea keeps its secrets fiercely, but relentless investigation will eventually reveal the final truth. What do you believe was the true fate of the USS Cyclops? Was it a catastrophic structural collapse caused by shifting manganese ore in rough seas? Or do you believe Captain Worley executed an act of wartime sabotage that ended in disaster? Here at the USA Suspects, we analyze every lead, every blueprint, and every unsealed naval archive. If this deep maritime investigation kept you captivated, smash the like button right now to support our channel. Drop your thoughts and theories in the comment section below. We read and reply to your insights. We want to hear from the sharpest true crime minds and historical sleuths in our growing community. Make sure to subscribe to the USA Suspects and turn on all notifications so you never miss an unsealed case. Share this video with a fellow history buff or true crime enthusiast who loves naval mysteries and cold cases. Your support allows us to continue unsealing historical archives and bringing lost stories back to life. Check out the recommended case file on your screen right now to dive deeper into our investigative archives. Study the evidence, question the legends, and never stop searching for the real truth. The deepest shadows are always found beneath the surface, waiting for science to illuminate them. We honor the memory of the 306 brave souls lost aboard the USS Cyclops. Thank you for watching and investigating the shadows with us today. This has been the USA Suspects, Investigating the Shadows. Case file: The Disappearance of the USS Cyclops. Unsolved. Join us next week as we crack open another classified American true crime mystery. Until then, stay vigilant. Keep your eyes on the horizon and watch the shadows. The USA Suspects, Investigating the Shadows. Case file closed.